I'm Dilly Briggs with the Subject Press. I am having a Skype. Hello. I'm having a Skype conversation with the great Mr. Jerry Hall, who is in the UK. How are you doing today?
Hello, everybody. Hello, Dilly. Thank you for having me on today.
Oh, thank you so much for, talking with us. I will have to say that Mr. Hall and I have been trying for a little while to get this interview going. We played merry-go-round. Something's constantly happening or coming up, and then this morning, even as soon as we were about to connect on Skype, my Skype decided to do updates. So it's like, here we go again.
Oh, God, I hate that happen.
So for all you listeners out there, this is going to be the best interview ever because it's taken forever to get to it. Now, Mr. Hall, I have been listening to a lot of your music. You do have a whole lot of music out there in a very short time and stuff. And I wanted to know, you have a lot of influence with Billy Joel and Elton John, and I can hear that in all the music that you play, a lot of that influence with a lot of piano playing and just all the different types of instruments. Is that where you get like a lot of your inspiration? What influence did you have growing up? Was it mainly those type of artists?
You know what? That used to be my inspiration, and yeah, when I was growing up, those were the artists those were the sort of artists that inspired me at the time. But to be honest with you, when I was younger and when it all started, I was too immature to really take it seriously and actually sit down and put any music down very seriously like I have within just the last 30 months now. Many moons later, what's really caused me to be serious and to inspire me is actually my surroundings now here in the Dingley Dales of Yorkshire, and the new people that I've linked up with, and the positive influences it's had on me, and it's definitely had a big impact on the way I write music. So much so, I guess you could say that in the tune of about 70 songs within the last 24 or 30 some odd months, about 24 between that and 30 months, that I've laid down 70 tracks and then released about 29 singles from that, from a total of 4 albums. I'm on my 5th one and it's coming out. So the inspiration is definitely there. I mean, I guess it's down to an English lady that I found here, and also an English cat and her family as well. So, not the cat's family, my English cat.
Well, no, that's nice because, I know there's a lot of, indie artists and stuff that, they kind of stick to one genre, and don't really always expand. But you do have a lot of different types of, it seems like there's a lot of different influence in your music, and I wasn't sure, exactly, where, of course, you came from on that, but you do have a good style. Do you like to mix in all the different, genres, or do you have a preference that you like to kind of stick to?
I mean, Dilly, if I had to stick to one genre, I could, but it would be, on the outside, I would be going, okay, I'm giving you this one genre, everybody, but on the inside, I'd be going, oh my God, I've got to jump off a bridge now. Because there's no way that I could stick with one genre. There's just absolutely no way. Because I love a variety of music, and the variety basically, runs around in the character of rock and roll and pop, laced with some orchestral, and I really love Mozart, but on the other hand, I really love Cheap Trick,
Me too.
Black Sabbath and things like that. But I like a variety of different things. So in the early years, around the 70s and so forth, in the 60s, I mean, it's always been very natural for me to mix the different genres. And it just seems to me that that's really the only way to do it, because I come from that time period where they did that. So, yes, I'm an old man. Yes, right. I don't care, though.
Well, I'm right there with you because I know the bands you're naming, so.
I mean, I noticed that you did do that, so you're in the same boat with me. But, yeah, it's always been a variety for me, and there's just no other way that I could do it. It has to be that way. I love, probably concentrate most of it in pop rock here recently. A lot of it's in pop rock, but I just did a really, really beautiful orchestral piece the other day that's coming on my 5th album that's going to be releasing this summer. Hopefully it will be.
Well,
and then, of course, I like to go to boogie woogie and things like that. So, a variety of different things,
Yeah, and I like that. I do like when an artist will dabble in a lot of different genres as well, just because it shows the diversity, that you can have, and that you can hit all these different styles. And to be honest, not every artist can dabble in a different genre and be able to succeed, so I think that's fantastic that you could do all of that. And touching on your fifth album, another thing that I did notice is that, yeah, you have a lot of music that you've been able to come out with in a very short amount of time. I mean, I know it's a lot of work, so it's not like you just blink of an eye and it's there. So I know you put a lot of work into it. Do you have like music that's archived already, or is it just when it hits you, you got to sit down and write it out? And can you just hash out a song like that? Because you have so much music out really fast, like boom, 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 one right after the other, that normally artists take a good amount of time in between. Yet you have 5 albums, or about your fifth one about to be released in just, like you said, so many months,
Right.
How does that work for you? I mean, what is your process?
All of those. I think it's all of those that you just touched points on. It's all of those. The answer to that question is all of those points. You do the boom, boom, boom as quick as you can on the ones that come. I embrace Mother Nature as quickly as she'll allow me to have, or whatever the greater power is that allows me to have these tunes that come across in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever they come, and I run downstairs and go, oh God, that's a good one, I'm gonna catch it, gotta do it now. Or like you say, it's like a surplus of songs that I've accumulated. Well, it's both. I've got both. And I think, and the surplus came about within just the last, like I say, 24 months or so. And I think that the reason why all of this accumulation came so quickly, like they did, is because, I don't know, maybe midlife crisis. or it might have just been the fact that all of the accumulated experience from on the road for about 24 some odd years, and then playing piano now for, we're talking about time now, nearly half a century. Well, actually, it's like 41 years playing the piano. And I've been in the music business, in music in particular, for about, nearly half a century. So all of that experience, I finally came to a point in my life around a big circle and landed myself here in England in the last 15 years. And it wasn't just, like I say, until the last 2 or 3 years that I got very serious and went, hey, I'm just going to slow down, smell the roses, smell the coffee, so to speak, and I'm gonna start getting serious here and laying down some of this music from my experiences from the past. Based on inspirations that are happening now. And you know what? It's been coming, and so it's just been coming out so quickly that sometimes I'm very scared that I will lose that information if I don't get it on paper quickly, or a snippet recorded of it very quickly. And it's been working out very well for me.
Nice, very nice. And you know what? I get that. I understand that, because sometimes when I'm preparing for an interview with somebody and just something comes across my head, if I don't write it right then and there, sometimes I'll lose how I wanted to say that particular sentence or something if I don't write it down. So I totally get that part, because I mean, I like just the other day, I mean, you left me a message as we were trying to, get all this set up, and you just all of a sudden I saw that message that said, oh, and a song just popped in my head. I gotta go record right now. So I was like, oh my gosh, wow, so you're going to come up with a whole song right now by the time I talk to you.
You know what? Just before we did talk, as a matter of fact, there was a little riff that came in my head, and I pulled back the cover on my keys, and it protects the keys on the piano, and I turned it on real quick, and just so I could, see what chords they were and what riff it is, and I thought, oh, yeah, I know that one, yeah, that's going to be a good song right there. And then I looked at the time, oh my God, she's going to be pissed off and on a hurry cover.
No.
Turn it off real fast, turn it on real quickly. So, just before we talk to each other, so.
Oh, but I think that's wonderful, because then as soon as it hits you, you feel like you do have to sit down and at least play with it a little bit so that it sticks in your head.
Well, if it's worth catching, to do, I will do it, because I've come to the situation in my life where I go, okay, man, you can't sit down, you can't catch every one of these, because if you do, you're going to be trying to look at the entire forest, and one tree is not going to be finished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going to finish just one. There's just you're going to be accumulating too many of them. And I did at the beginning. That's why I've got the surplus. But that's just the way it is. You got to kind of go, okay, I'll let that one go, and then another one will come along. You go, I really like that one. I'm going to keep that one, and that's the one you go after.
Yeah, whatever feels right to you. Exactly.
One that inspired. Yeah.
Now, how does it feel when you hear your music played on the radio? Because you do have a lot of stations playing your music. How does that make you feel when you hear that, like your new song for the first time being played? Does it make you feel overwhelmed? Do you get excited, or is it just like, oh, great, it made it?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the way I felt when I got into this cyber thing with my music only 24 months ago. It was 24 months in April, that I started this whole thing with getting my music online and getting it heard, and writing it and putting it into an album, into albums, more than one. And at the beginning, I just kind of went, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And I met a gentleman from England that was running a radio station at the time that was helping indie artists like myself get started. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He stopped doing the indie thing because that's another story. But it got me started.
I got time. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
I got time for another story. No problem.
But when he got that when he got my music and started playing it, I just went, I cannot believe this. My music's actually being played. So I would say, just like anything in life, it really surprised the hell out of me to begin with. And now I'm just, it still surprises the hell out of me. It still gives me that feel-good factor when I hear my songs on the radio. It kind of gives you that little shot in the arm. You go, oh, that's cool, But it doesn't surprise me like it used to in the very beginning, because it's been a while now. And there's been lots of, radio stations. So,
I think it's great.
Keep on coming, please, everybody.
Right? Anyway. I think it's great, though, because at the same time, for fans to also hear that you also still get that little shot of adrenaline, when something of yours goes up as well. So I think that
you take pride in all your little children, and you want to keep loving them. You want to keep going. Hey, I want to just get you out there and get heard. And when I hear you being treated well, and you kind of go, oh yeah, I'm proud of you. It's kind of I know it's kind of weird, but it's kind of, they're like my children,
Oh no, it's not weird at all, but just like even with my interviews, I do take pride in doing my research on people and trying to find out as much as I can, out of the respect of the fact that this is what you do for a living, and we want to be able to do the best to promote it and to know about it, so I take pride in that type of, as well. So I appreciate that you even feel that way, because then it makes the fact that you will put your heart and soul into it, and that does show in the music, at least to people like me who are very, big music people, so, and it's noticeable.
Thanks a lot.
And
we have mutual admiration here.
Exactly, and you have so much music out so fast that it's already shown. At least I feel that it's already shown that it's received really, really well by fans and audience out there, because you are played on a lot of different stations. I was looking at everything. It's like, wow, you're everywhere. And now you started in Memphis, Tennessee. Is that correct?
That's right, back in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah,
now,
that's where I'm from.
What made you want to move? Because Memphis, Tennessee is like a major hubbub of music, and this is where, everybody says country music is born and comes from Tennessee, and people literally, I know artists right now that are moving to Tennessee to get their careers going. What made you want to leave Tennessee and start in a whole other country on top of that? You're not even you didn't like move to another state. You just left the whole country.
It's love in the third degree.
Right?
Well, that's part of it, you see. But you're right. I do get that question quite a lot from just about everybody I talk to. They say, radio show hosts, whatever, interviewers like yourself, and they'll ask the question. Actually, he's got it backwards. He's got it backwards. They usually do the other way around.
Right.
And so, I get a lot of flack from that. But really, it had a lot to do with just being at the right place at the right time, and it had a lot to do with running into somebody that really caught my attention and has really changed my life in a positive way. And fortunately, the surroundings that come along with it have played a double whammy benefit for me as well, in this inspiration for releasing all this information that's been accumulated after all these years. And the experience is just, it's a way to just get it out on paper, and the also, I've always been a very creative person, so I love to use my writer's prerogative and be very creative and imaginative in the things I write, and in the words that I put down, in the way that I want it to sound, in the way music has inspired me. So, to answer your question, Memphis, Tennessee is where it all started a long time ago, back in the 60s, with my sisters and my father, a very musically inclined family. Well, my sister's was a gospel quartet. My father,
Oh,
a
nice.
guitarist, a very accomplished guitarist, a very debonair or Gene Autry sounding vocal that I
Oh.
always aspired to and wanted to sound like, but never could. He played the guitar. I always wanted to do that, couldn't do it. And then after going through many, many instruments, trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to play, a young Jerry Hull back in those 60s and 70s heard. Oh, it was actually in the early 70s, and I heard over the radio waves Rocket Man and Benny Jets for the first time. And
Oh, yeah.
had only been in the United States for a short time. And when I heard these two songs, I just went, oh, that's exactly what I want to do, man. I want to be a piano player. I want to be a stage show man. I want to be, that gets up there and plays piano and makes all the money and stardom and all that. So I pursued it by to purchase a piano that year, and he made a deal with me that if you learn how to play the piano, at least get a couple of songs under your belt this year, I promise not to take the piano back. But you have to promise me that you'll do that. And I said, okay. So that summer I was so intent. A young 13 years old was so intent on learning how to play the piano.
Wow, that's really young to want to learn to play the piano too.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it is. All my friends from high school would knock on the door and say, hey, what's wrong with you, man? Won't you come outside? Let's go party. And I'd say, no, I got to stay inside, man. I got to learn how to play the piano. I'd say, what? Learn how to play the piano? You got to get out of here.
I bet they're kicking themselves now, though, while you're being interviewed and your music's all over the place, right?
Yeah, they probably would do if they knew, but it's been a long time now. And the thing is those guys, we started when I was about 18 or so, in high school, as a small band, as the proverbial story goes with a lot of bands. They tell similar stories.
Yeah.
Where they get started with their high school friends. And it started kind of there while I was learning how to play the piano. And that same summer when I stayed in, I learned songs like Burn Down the Missions by Elton John, and I was working on Rocket Man and a lot of Beatles tunes and things like that.
Nice.
But like I say, it wasn't until many, many years later where I started getting serious about actually writing my own music, my own stuff. And this is all, based on, my love for all that music that I used to listen to as a kid, and that we used to play as bands, all the different bands I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
As I crossed across the country, over towards L.A. Well, it started in Memphis. Well, it started in South Haven, Mississippi, a small town, and then out of there into Memphis. I started leaving the high school band and started venturing off into other directions with little small bands, and one in particular I met that got me into the Bill Street thing. And I found myself, in the Bill Street time about, mid 80s or so, doing some things around the Bill Street circuit. And one night, I ran into some friends that heard me there, that sung and everything. And they said, "How would you like to come out to Los Angeles sometime? You ought to really come out there and check it out." And so, it really opened the eyes of a young Jerry Hull back in those days to come out to Los Angeles. They said, "You'll either love it or hate it." I loved it, So, that was a lot of experience, and that's where the gigging started happening across country towards L.A. And then many, many years up across Route 66 and up towards Toronto. And I found myself about 24 years later or so down back in Memphis again, doing some architectural designing that I was doing with my father that he got me into earlier before I started getting into the musical stuff. But all along, I'd been doing the musical stuff along with that. And that's where I was at a product show where I met a young lady that was from England, that I heard her accent, and I went, I got to talk to her. Anyway, we started having a little conversation. And before you know it, I'm going back and forth on vacation, back and forth as much as possible to visit. And before you know it, I'm trying to figure out, do I want to take her from there and have her here in the United States with me, or do I want to not do that to her and then go there? After a lot of debating and so forth, I decided I did not want to pluck the special flower from England and let her wither in the desert of the United States. I wanted to keep her intact there and go over to her. And that's exactly what I did.
That is so romantic.
Well,
that is beautiful. It really is a beautiful story there because, to be honest, you being that artist, having your career going and doing everything that you were doing already in a town that is accepting of this type of career, to take that to take all of that and just you be the one to change everything over for her and start it all over there instead, kind of like from scratch, I guess.
You're right.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. You went where your heart led you.
I thought it was time for a change, you know.
That's beautiful. I just had to make that note. That's wonderful. It shows you have that big caring heart, because it shows that you're willing to put another's feelings and you know, their life ahead of yours, you know, even though you want to intermingle with it. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you. She just means more to me than anything in the whole world, and that's why I did what I did, and you know, I'm very glad for it, because it's really changed, as I told you many times now. It really changed my life for the better. It's really made me slow down, and she's taught me lots of things, like, you know, how to actually slow down and enjoy life for a change, instead of, because see, I come from the big city in Memphis, and I've always been used to car exhaust, and get out of my way, I got to get to work, you know, and things like that. I'm going to kill you, I'm going to shoot you. No, we didn't do that.
No, I get it. I'm Orange County, LA County, I know.
LA County, so there you go, see.
Right, I know.
Get out of my way, I'm going to run over you. Road rage. But see, she changed all that to where I would slow down and kind of go, oh, look at that. I'm learning that that's a particular kind of flower. Those are bees. There's apples that are wild for the picking on these trees that have been there for thousands of years. Old trees on these beautiful paths inspire me to write these songs that I've written. One in particular I wrote and released not too long ago from my Made in Memphis album, my latest album, called Stage Ghost Coach of Kipling Coats.
I listened to that a couple of times.
Oh, did you? Did you like it?
Yes, I did.
Thank you very much.
That wasn't released that long ago, right?
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
It was released, I think, last month, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was one of your recent ones, because I've been listening to even the recent ones you've been putting out so fast, because then all of a sudden here's another one, and then here's another one, and then here's something else by Jerry Hall, and then check Jerry Hall out on this radio station. I was like, by the time I get to my interview, I'm gonna be out of date with my information.
Well, you know that's the way it is. That's the way it is, and you know, that's really not a good thing with me putting them out so quickly like that. It is, because I'm doing what I want to do. And I have my reasons for it, because I don't feel like I'm not getting any younger, and I want to do it while I still can. Yeah. And while the information is there, and I don't want to lose it. So it's that, and it's also the fact. On the other hand, if I release this information like I'm doing very quickly, a lot of radio stations really don't like that, Dilly. They don't like for you to release songs so quickly, but then there's some that don't mind at all. You know, it just depends. But
yeah, some places will feel like, oh, they're just bombarding them, but I personally feel, you know, if you're somebody who can put it out that fast, then why not go for it? Do it. Some fans get so anxious. It's like, where's the next one? Where's the next one? You know, and so you'll still have that following of, I like that, you know?
Hey, you know what I was going to do? I was going to ask you, to be honest with you, hey, Dilly, can we put this off until about the 5th of next month, so I'll have a new single for you that we can talk about it?
Well, tell you what, on the 5th of next month, we can just get on here and we can play that single. How's that?
Hey, that'd be awesome. I'd appreciate that.
And actually,
coming out.
We would actually would be able to do that, because we do. One of our sites is we do have radio going up. My producer is the voice of Subject Press, and there is a radio station that is almost in completion. Some of our other sites, you know, are still being worked on, some of the websites, but they're all almost in completion. So the main one is up and running, but she is actually going to have radio. We do have radio going up. So for anybody that we do interviews with that is in the music field, and you know, you just send us a link to your songs and stuff, and when that goes up, they will be playing we will be playing some of the artists' music that we interviewed, because she's also going to be like addressing, you know what, check out Jerry Hall. Dilly did an interview with Jerry Hall, and now Jerry Hall has a brand new song out, and here's the new song, and if you want to go back and check out that interview, you can, but here's the new song he has out. So if you send us that link, she'd be able to play it for you. Get a hold of you on the 5th.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. That sounds great. You guys got it together, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying. I mean, we're still getting everything up, and yeah, we're off to a really great start. Both of us are not new to the industry. We're just new together with this launch, but we have a lot of amazing people that we've been, in contact with and are absolutely wonderful, who've been giving us, a lot of feedback and all wonderful, interviews such as yourself. And we have a lot of fans that are interested in the people that we talk with. And so we're getting a lot of great feedback with these interviews. And a lot of people do say that they feel the audio interviews, it's like they're part of a private conversation.
Fantastic. I like it too. It's more spontaneous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you never know what's going to happen and what's going to be said. Sometimes I'm surprised myself.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, you know what? I thought this was a really fun question. If you had the chance to jump in Doctor Who's time traveling TARDIS and go back in time and what would be like your favorite band to go back and play with? Who would you choose to go back that one moment in time and be on stage with and share that musical experience with? Who would you do that with?
That would have to be on the Madison Square Gardens concert that Elton John had. I think it was back in 1978. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the date, but it's a particular show where he was touring. I think he was like dressed up in a L.A. Dodgers outfit, and he had a baseball bat out there. And he went out there and started swinging the bat around, and going crazy with the piano and all that stuff. And I thought, wouldn't it just be cool if I could go back in time, if I was given a chance to go up on the stage and play, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting along with the band, with the Elton John band, and come up there and jump on top of the piano, and maybe get the baseball bat swinging around or whatever, just, I don't know, just go crazy, whatever. But, I just thought it would just really be great if I had a chance to do that. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I love different genres, as we talked about. And so, obviously, that's going to bring a lot of different bands that's inspired me, in the past and got me started with music. And there's just so many of them that I would just absolutely love to do what you're asking about in that question. But if I had to just pick it just right off the bat, as I say, baseball bat from the Dodger Stadium, from the LA Dodgers, that would definitely be one of them that I would love to do.
That would be really fun. I mean, if there was always that option, if there was a TARDIS to begin with to jump in and take in the time machine.
Well, that'd be cool if there was one like that. But
right.
If you say that to the English, they'll say, "Oh, but that is a TARDIS machine down in London, you see."
And that's why I made the reference, because we were stuck on Doctor Who. We used to watch it all the time, so I knew it.
Yeah, it's very popular show.
Yes. What would you say is your favorite part about, like, say, when you're writing a song or something hits you, and like the message you left me the other day, oh my God, a song popped in my head, I have to go and record. So what's your favorite part, like coming up with that idea, or is it putting it down on paper, or maybe putting the music to it? What do you like the process best for you?
Oh, I see. The part of the process. I like to go past that part where the inspiration started. And I would say probably my favorite part is somewhere right in the middle where I'm actually doing the recording of it, the recording of the music itself, musically, before I do the vocal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love doing the vocal. There's no doubt about that. But there's just something about the satisfaction I get from seeing a plan come together,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just when this inspiration comes to pass, it's just a little smidgen of information and imagination, and then it gets on paper, and then somehow it winds up being this big production, and it's just so pleasing to see it all come together and actually come out into like a song that you heard the other day, like Kipling Codes.
Mm-hmm.
That production, and when you see that happen, you just go, oh man, that is just amazing how that happens. So it never ceases to amaze me how that finalization, how it all comes together into this final song. It never ceases to amaze me, no matter how many I do. It's kind of like drawing plans for a building. You kind of go, okay, we're starting over this, and you get a satisfaction of after it's built, you go out there and you go, hey, I actually did this, so.
Right, seeing the end product, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. And you know what, and it's great because what you do really does have a big influence and a big a big impact on people like me who really do use a lot of music and stuff like that, you know, in my life. I incorporate a lot of that in my life, whether it's the extra speech for my child, you know, because music is repetitive, or just something that I've always immersed myself in. I grew up in this type of a life, always being around musicians and stuff like that. So a lot of us utilize that as our sanity savers. You know, so we do need people like you who are influenced to go out and write all this stuff and, you know, put this stuff out there, you know, because you're not doing it just for yourself. You're doing it to be able to bring joy to others. And that really does happen. I really enjoyed listening to all your music. You have so many different songs out on so many different radio stations. I was just like, wow, you're everywhere. And I tried my best to listen to as much as I could. Yeah, I really loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I liked that piano playing in a lot of that because you don't get a lot of that anymore. You know, it's not as mainstream anymore. So it's nice to, when you hear it, it is nice because it's that, oh my God, listen to that. Not as many artists can get down on a piano like that, you know, and you can tell.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you can tell it's absolutely great.
What you just said to me meant more to me than you realize, because that's the main thing that I write music for, you see. I told somebody else the same thing that I'm telling you right now, is that if I know from that person that it's touched their heart some way, in some form or fashion, if it's made them feel a certain emotion, whether it be feeling really cool and, hey, let's get up and rock and roll, or whether it be like, oh, God, you know, maybe reminded them of a loved one or a lost one, or someone that, you know, they fell in love with or something, or something really special in their life. If it's touched them in a certain way, then I know right away I've done my job.
Exactly. And I appreciate that you said that back, because I do have a lot of respect and love for musicians, and I respect what they do, and I know, because again, growing up in the industry around musicians, I know the type of work that it takes to put into it, you know, and you can tell when an artist puts a whole lot into it, and your music shows that. And I think that's fantastic. And
thank you very much.
Now you're like, again, since you're all over the place, you have a lot of different social media links for people to find you. Can you tell us what are the links that people can find you at if they're interested to know more about you?
Well, you know, you can mainly catch me at reverbnation.com/Jerry Hall. That's reverbnation.com/Jerry Hall.
You heard that, folks.
Yeah, Jerry Hall, like a hole in the boat. You know, hull, Hull, not a hall, but a hull and
That's
a boat.
Right.
Yes, and I'm also in Kingston upon Hull, so what a coincidence that is.
Yay!
But that's the main place that you want to catch me at, is there. You can catch all my songs there. All my videos are there. Little snippets of information I think you'll find very interesting are there. Also on Facebook at Jerry Hall Singer, Pianist Songwriter, Arranger. That's at Facebook, Singer, Pianist, Songwriter, Arranger, Jerry Hall there. Just look me up anywhere on your favorite social media. Look up and type in Jerry Hall Pianist or Jerry Hall, and I'll pop up everywhere. Also catch me at Jerry Hall Singer at Twitter, at Jerry Hall Singer, at Jerry Hall Singer on Twitter. Yes.
There you go. Has anyone ever told you have the perfect radio voice?
Yeah, they tell me that. Yeah, they tell me. But you know what I have to tell them is that I would love to be in that seat and do some of that. And I have done it here recently. I don't know if you've noticed.
I noticed. I did want to bring that up.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to bring up, because you have that voice, and I noticed you just recently you have a release of a new show. Is it the Jerry Hall Takeover Show? And
it's called Jerry Hall and Callie the Cat.
And Callie the Cat.
Show.
I like the Callie the Cat. The whole meow is fantastic.
Very much. Yeah. She has kind of a funny way of saying meow. She, you know, most cats say meow, right?
Yeah, most.
Right? Most cats, but she says no.
It was. I was laughing so hard. I loved the whole intro. It was like 2 a.m. and I was listening to it to make sure I could, we could talk about it today because it's brand new. You just put it up like last night and so it just came out and I was like, oh my gosh, like I said, by the time I get to talking to you, my information's going to be out of date because already now he just launched a radio takeover show with some characters.
It's my first. I mean, it's actually that one that we're talking about is the second one.
Oh, it's the second one.
It's the second one. It's only the second one. The first one was put out just before that, and it's just called the Jerry Hall Music Show, which kind of it showcases 6 of my songs, and I tell about my life in a kind of a condensed fashion, and it's got a lot of interesting facts in there and so forth, and some sound effects and so forth. I was a little bit of creative with it, so maybe you might want to check that out sometime too. Anybody out there, check out the Jerry Hall Music Show, or the second show I did called Jerry Hall and Kelly the Cat's Takeover Show I did for a gentleman in Australia by the name of DJ Struthmate at West Star Radio. And so check that out. That's also available. It's on podcast right now.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I thought that was wonderful. I loved it. And because, again, listening to you, it was like, God, you really do have that amazing voice. And I could hear you on radio talking with people. And then when I listened to your show last night with your Cali Cat, I was like, oh my gosh, I laughed. I was loving it. I was like, this is great. This is so great. I love the imagination put into it. And it was hilarious. I thought it was a great intro. And then it went into your music, which was so perfect, And is this something you plan to do, keep doing and doing these little shows with these characters?
Yeah, I'm going to try, and that's to go back to your question about has anybody ever asked you to be a DJ, and the answer that I usually give them is, well, I would if I could clone myself into about 10 people. If I could do that, then I'd say yes, I'm going to become a DJ too, and I would love to do it. But to be honest with you, Delia, I just don't have the time to do that and what I'm doing at the same time. I mean, I'm producing music, I'm recording it. I mean, we all got our lives, right? So
exactly,
it's full of things that we have to do. So I'm sorry, but I just cannot fit that in. But as far as doing radio shows, I can do the occasional one-off here and there. And so, yeah, I'll probably come back and do another episode.
That's fantastic. Yeah, if you do, we'll definitely, put it up there and listen to it. Because like I said, I loved it. I thought it was great. Something that was different and creative. And the different and creative is what I like to hear because it attracts me, and I think that's wonderful. A lot of people would be attracted to that because it is a little something different. And people like something that'll make them laugh and make them automatically feel good. And that's
what I try to do.
Yeah, and that's what I felt right off the bat. It automatically made me feel good. I had a big old smile on my face. I was like, this is great. I love this. I can't wait to talk to him.
We all need a little lightening up occasionally, especially in this day and age,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? And just because of everything that you have accomplished, and you've accomplished in a short time, but as you said, it was building up. You already had this whole build up that you'd already been working this whole time on it. And so now you're basically in the point where you're just releasing a lot of stuff out there and it's really well received. With being so busy and so crazy, but you've succeeded in where a lot of people are still trying to succeed. As that artist, now that you are in that position, what would you tell another aspiring artist who wants to do what you do? What would you tell them? What type of advice would you give them?
The very first thing I would say is do not cater for a particular situation. In other words, don't sell out. Mm-hmm. Stay true to yourself. Completely believe in yourself and believe in the music you produce. Believe in it, and because if you don't, nobody else is going to.
You know what, and that's absolutely true. Because if you don't believe in your own stuff and your own work,
why should anybody else? If you don't,
exactly.
What's the point? And another thing too, when you get up in front of that mic and you belt out that song, do it because you really, really have passion for that song, whether it be an up or downer. Make sure that you put every single little bit of ounce of heart that comes out of your soul into every single song that you do, and it'll come out feeling that way and sounding that way to even the most, hardened ear.
Right, right, exactly. If it hits that person, you can tell that, put a lot into it, and there's somebody out there that's always gonna feel that, like, wow, this is for me.
That's right. And I say again, otherwise, what's the point? If you don't do that, then what's the point? All you're doing is just going through the mechanical process, and why not? We're only on Earth for one time, right? So why not make it something that you really want to do?
Right, exactly. And you have the right attitude, for that. It's something that you got to live this life once, and you got to just go for it and just do it. And
do the best you can. Yeah.
You're right. And the word believe, that's a strong word. In fact, I'm having coffee right now, and my coffee cup says believe on it. I'm not kidding. It says believe. One of my best friends always tells all of us, believe in yourself, and she gives out all these little trinkets that say believe, so that you can remember to believe in yourself. And
I really like that cup.
Well, I'm going to send you a picture. And I love that you said that too, because we try to do that too. You know what? Just believe in yourself and go for it. And because you've done that, you have succeeded, where a lot of people would like to be, and you are there. And I think that's fantastic. You've done so much. So once again, I'm Dilly Briggs with the Subject Press, and we are speaking with the fantastic ultimate artist, Mr. Jerry Hull, who started off in Memphis, Tennessee, and is now in the UK. He's got a lot of music out, he's got the 5th album about to be released. He's got a lot of tracks out there. He's done a whole lot. Listen to his shows, and he's got some other shows again, the Jerry Hull Music Show and the Jerry Hull, is it Calico Cat? I keep saying it wrong.
Callie the cat.
Callie the cat. Callie the cat. That says meow. So I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. It took a while to get this interview going, because again, we had something coming up on your end or my end, or Skype decided to update at the moment we were going to talk.
God, it was just but the thing is,
the universe made us work for this interview.
the best things.
That's right. The best things in life are not free, and it just, you got to come out and just keep going.
That's true.
That's what we kept saying. We're going to keep trying. We'll just keep on trying. and
it was worth it.
Yes, I think it was fantastic. We got a lot of information out there. I think a lot of fans are going to really be happy to know all this information, and they have ways to find you now and to listen to your new shows. And I think I'm going to talk to my producer and say, you know what, we need to have Jerry at least maybe interview you or something, because I love your voice. I love your voice, and your whole personality is just fun, and I think that's great, and it shows. I
admire you guys. What you're doing, hats off to you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that too. Well, is there anything before we go? Is there anything that you would like to add? Anything you want to say to any fans out there, or maybe to anybody in particular, or maybe a shout out, a thank you? So whatever. How would you like to sign this show off? Like it was your show.
I guess I would just like to say thank you, everybody, for listening in tonight, and or today, wherever you are in the world, and for taking time to listen to us talk. And I'd like to thank you to you and your producer for allowing me to speak about my music and get myself out there where people can hear it and so forth. And a big shout out to Mr. DJ Struthman on West Star Radio.
Woo!
My Australian friend. But I really appreciate it very much, you having me on, and it was very nice talking to you, and also meeting you as well, Dilly. And maybe one day might come out there and have a taco with you.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
So, and I'll come out and have a scone and some tea with you. How's that?
Couple day. And I'll bring Callie the cat with me.
Oh, I would love that. Now, before we go, can I get you to say that you're listening to Jerry Hull on the Subject Press?
And you're listening to Jerry Hull on the Subject Press.
And